or you want to wait for the show?
Okay, we're officially recording now.
All right.
It's on.
It's on. Hello.
Good afternoon or morning, whatever time you're watching this. To our audience, we have a special guest. We have Miss Emma Haskin, who's coming to us live from some other state. South, is it?
Yeah, just a little bit. Coming live from Portland. It's where we're quarantining with my parents.
And remind our viewers, if you could, are you allowed to pump your own gas?
Actually, during quarantine, yes, you are.
Wow.
That is the best part of Oregon.
Or the worst part of Oregon. It's hard.
No. Okay, are we getting into that? Is that our new topic now? No.
Let's hold that thought. Let's talk about our mugs, if you would, for just a moment here.
Can we get Haskin,
you're our guest. What do you have for us?
Okay. I have a Best Teacher Ever mug.
Whoa.
Given to me from a student who also took AP World. So I am blessed with
names. No, you can't name.
No names.
Never
no
mind.
Names.
Wait, did they take AP World with me?
You know what? I don't know. We'll just see.
We'll just see.
We'll see. I'll be on the edge of my seat for that one. And Miss Wold, what do you got?
Okay, so my mug was one of my first quarantine purchases, and I actually bought one from Miss Haskin as well because she went down to Oregon right away, and so what it is it says Kate and Emma, which Washington here, and that bothers me, and I think it's because my name was first, but I didn't know about that on the site where I bought it, they would do that. But then on the other side it says, still having coffee together, because we would go to Starbucks together a lot. And on the bottom it says, I hate Menenberg.
Liar. Show the audience.
It will after this, because I got a Sharpie right here.
Okay, well,
but I got one for, I also got one for Haskin.
How left out do you feel? Just saying, Menenberg.
Not really. I mean, I don't want a mug with the state of Oregon on it. So, but I do. So my mug is actually Mrs. Menenberg's mug, and it says Princess Consuela Banana Hammock.
I love that mug. That is a good mug.
Now, for our viewers who may not be familiar with what this is, I'm not entirely embarrassed to admit that I explain it. I would like one of you to explain it because you are more probably fans, if you will, of...
I have a tattoo. I have a friend's tattoo.
Of Princess Consuela Banana.
Just like the whole sleeve. Look. No, I have Phoebe's tattoo. She has a little blue dot because she was afraid and it hurt. So she got the whole world. So I have a little blue dot on my shoulder. There. And I had a student a couple years ago who said, you have a dot on your shoulder. I said, oh yeah, it's a tattoo. And they said, no, it is a dot. But Friends is the best show ever.
Friends is the best show ever. And if you remember my classroom, I have a huge Friends poster in there. It is truly the best show.
I'm going to go ahead and disagree, but that is not the topic of our show today. So we're going to table that for maybe next time. Could you tell us what this is about, though, for those of us who haven't seen it?
So having changed my name recently from Nelson to Haskin, it is quite the debacle to change, a name. And so in the show, Phoebe gets married and she wants to take her husband's new name. This is also fitting for our show today.
It's very fitting.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And then she realizes she can change her name to whatever she wants it to be. So instead of taking Phoebe Hannigan, her last name, she changes her whole name to Princess Consuela Banana Hammock without really realizing what that means.
Mike being perfect for her gets her to realize the error of her ways by changing his name to Crap Bag. Which gets her to
we have that mug too.
That's perfect.
I should have had that mug.
I think that's your mug. I think that's who you're supposed to be in this relationship.
Well, so funny story. So we got these mugs because actually Mrs. Menenberg purchased them to give in a white elephant gift exchange. And she wanted them so much that she took them from her own.
I respect that. I 100%
respect that too.
Yeah.
So
you got to get even for weird gift exchange, you want to give a gift that you would want yourself. And
right. Get a terrible gift that you would not want at all.
Oh, I love regifting at White Elephant Gifts Exchange because then everyone's like, "Oh, this is so funny," and it's like, and I never have to see it again.
That's a good topic for a later show, I think. Maybe around the holidays. We'll save
We
that.
love our holiday topics. Those are, I think, our favorites.
There's plenty to choose from. Well, let's introduce the topic for today. And as we pointed out from the mug, it is fitting because our topic is roles and responsibilities within a relationship. And just get this out of the way, it doesn't matter what type of relationship we're talking about, if it's a dating one or a marriage or I guess those are the two we're
domestic partnership
or a
Domestic
work-wife
partnership.
relationship, as Haskin and I have, and you are very jealous of.
Sure, certainly. So I'm going to start by saying I don't know how much we disagree, but the three of us do have spouses, and in however many total years of marriage that we collectively have experienced changes, different expectations, perhaps, and maybe different outcomes in what those relationship roles and responsibilities look like. So let's just open it up. What I want to ask it this way: what are certain roles? Excuse me. What are certain responsibilities within a relationship that should be this person versus this person? Does that make sense? Like,
I don't know if it's a should.
Yeah,
but
that was my
how
problem
is
too.
it in your relationships, you know?
Okay.
So I will start. Ours is, I feel like we have, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, and if Kevin, my spouse, watches this later, he'll probably be mad. I do way more than he does. Way more than he does. And he knows it. So that's the good thing, is he knows that I do
Is
way
he gonna
more.
be mad that you're talking about it in front of other people?
I mean, he might, but
okay.
we're married, so we'll figure it out. It's fine. But let's think of like household responsibilities, right?
Yeah.
I do the cooking, I do the grocery shopping, I vacuum, I, clean the bathrooms, make the bed, like all of that stuff. Just those little things. Laundry is a big thing that he absolutely hates. But I am not, I don't know. I'm not manipulating him, but it also gives me leverage to when I want him to do something. I can be like, well, I do this and this and this. And he's like, oh, yeah, I probably should just take out the trash this one time that you're asking me to do. So it kind of works to my advantage. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
I love you so much. Just the fact that you're like, I'm not manipulative, but I am kind of playing the system.
His main role, I'll give him this. When we got married, we really discussed this, and I said, because I don't love cooking, but I am a really good cook, as Kate can attest to. I've beaten Menenberg in 2 cooking competitions, I think it was.
Wow. Bribing judges is not something.
But I digress.
On this
so
show.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I don't really enjoy cooking, but I, figured that we have to eat. I'll get used to it. But I did not want to do the dishes after I spent, X amount of time cooking. So Every single night, Kevin does the dishes.
Okay.
That's pretty great. That's a pretty great deal.
It is great.
We tried to do that. I'll get into that in a minute, but yeah.
Well, so what I'm hearing though is Miss Haskin, you are more or less a third wave feminist. Is that?
Explain.
Well, I mean, you want traditional, the traditional roles and responsibilities of a woman in the home. That's what you're aiming to do.
I'd say that what I do, yes. But but like I said, I use these jobs that I do, these responsibilities that I take on. Like, I don't vacuum the stairs because I hate it. Kevin does that. I vacuum every other part of the house, but I say, can you please do the stairs? And he always complains, and I say, Kevin, I did your laundry last week. I cooked you meals. And he's like, yep, you're right.
Okay, so let me ask both of you this. Is there a task we're talking household chores, or is there a household chore that you simply will not do or your spouse will not do under any circumstances?
No, for me, there's the only chore that I cannot do this chore. I cannot lift the trash out of our new trash can. When we moved, we got a big one with a lid on it, so Andy couldn't get into it. Because in our old apartment we had
Andy, your husband, or
Andy, my dog.
Be clear, yes, thank you.
We had to put a child lock on the cabinet so he wouldn't get it. But then when we moved, I was like, you know what? I wanna get a bigger trash can with a lid, and it works great Andy can't get into it, but I can't lift it out. I have tried. It's a mess. It doesn't work. And so that is the only chore I would say that Alex has to do because I physically cannot lift it out. But other than that, I found that this is something I've actually been fascinated with, and I've been asking a lot of couples recently because I wanted to see, are we weird or do other people do this? So we don't have like the only set chores we have, I'll get to that in a second, but we barter for chores a lot, especially like winter, taking Andy out at night, cold, I don't want to do it. I'll say, I'll do the dishes that are in the sink right now if you take out Andy. And usually Alex will end up taking out Andy. But we don't really have set chores, except there's two that have happened with quarantine. The first one is I don't like grocery shopping right now. Like it just, all the lines, like I'm always like 6 feet, creeps me out and stresses me out. So I have Alex go do it. And in exchange, I do the dishes. So he grocery shops for the week and I do the dishes for the week. The other thing that's happened is Alex really wanted me to play this video game, Undertale. So I didn't want to play it. He said, okay, you play it for an hour on the weekends and I will do all the laundry for the week. How could I pass that up? So we've started doing that. And so like, that is the win-win-win situation. I don't have to do laundry. And in exchange, I have to play a video game that I'm actually starting to enjoy. It's actually it's cute. It's fun. So.
Now, David's the only person, or Mr. Menenberg, excuse me, is the only person with kids. And so that throws a whole different spin on this. I still think I'll do more than Kevin when that happens, but we will have to divide a lot more of the responsibility.
But don't you get a little excited thinking about eventually the kids are going to get older and you can be like, you do the dishes? Because I remember being a teenager and being like, I hate doing the dishes. Yes. I'm never doing the dishes again. And then I grew up being like, oh, wait, now I have to do the
little things. Unloading the dishwasher, grating cheese. For some reason, I don't like grating cheese. It just gets everywhere. I'm going to teach my kids to do that. It's going to be great.
Yeah. That seems like a good plan. So first, let me talk about like Mrs. Menenberg and I and how our ship operates. We don't necessarily have designated tasks and we don't necessarily bargain. Neither one of us has a task that we never will do, but there are certain ones that are somehow more on the masculine side, like Miss Wold alluded to, the trash. So like I do the trash. I do the trash. I do things around the house like cleaning out the gutters. She's not going to do that, but she does do a good amount of yard work. We both do laundry. We both fold laundry, both do dishes. Our typical understanding is that if one of us cooks, I usually do my dishes before my meal is done. Like before it's done being cooked, I do the dishes. What? But if she cooks,
that's a thing. People do that.
I know.
Hello, when you have to put something.
Do you mean like rinsing or like scrubbing?
No.
And
the whole thing. If you put something in the oven and it says 25 minutes, that's more than enough time to clean up the entire kitchen.
No, that's time to watch a Friends episode. Like, what are you doing?
Take care of business. Get it done. So Mrs. Menenberg does the dishes for when she cooks every now and then, but we also divide up the cooking. I more enjoy the cooking, but she does a fair amount of it as well. So we're pretty evenly divided, and that carried over pretty naturally when we had kids. Obviously, there's certain things that I can't do as a parent physically. It's not possible, no matter what they say in the meeting.
Not yet.
Not possible. And listen, I want to be clear. When we found out we were going to have our first kid, I told Mrs. Menenberg, I said, listen, if I could carry that child, I would.
That's so noble of you. That's so noble of you.
Seahorse, I would do that because males carry the baby.
Seahorse, exactly. Now, and so anyway, so she did all the stuff that I couldn't do, but once, the breastfeeding kind of ends, and so like right now, like I get up in the middle of the night and feed boy number 2, and I do that every night. But we divide. I mean, it's not like I've never changed a diaper. It's not like I've never, done folded up baby laundry. But it's interesting, this topic, because we were watching the new version of Little Women. I don't know if you're fans of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a huge feminist kind of bent on this movie. And it's just interesting that so many things, even in the last couple decades, were regimented in a relationship this person is going to do these, and no one's even bat an eye about it. There's just this expectation, and now I think we kind of have shifted away from that. So that's why I think this topic's interesting. But there are certain things, like with the trash, Mrs. Menenberg just assumed that I was going to be doing that, and she will on occasion, but not generally. Other things that I do that are not even touched by her are like the finances. I do all the finance stuff in the household.
Oh, I do tell my kids I've never done my taxes because my grandfather did my taxes, and then I got married and my husband did my taxes. And like, I could learn. I realize I am capable, but like, I feel like at this point I should just wait till I'm senile, and like statistically he has been like, I'm gonna die first. I'm like, no, I want to die first. But I'm like, okay, but if he dies first, like, can I get away with being like, well, I'm so old and I never had to do the taxes? Like, can I get away with it? And how long can I get away with it? Or I'm interested to see that experiment.
Well,
that'll be what I do with my time when I'm 80.
Well,
I think that was a good impression of your voice as an old person, by the way.
I'm so
Very nice.
old.
Who does the finances for you guys though, Wold? Like,
well, so
credit cards, payments,
so
stuff like that.
I think we're also a little different this way, because we don't have joint checking, and and so he'll pay for. So, like, we split up bills that way. Like, he'll pay for this, I'll pay for that, and we'll Venmo each other money if like the cat. Like, I do everything with the cat. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't pay for the food. He doesn't get the litter. I do all of that stuff. So that's one chore that I would say that was a bargain. He said, you can get the cat, but you are fully 100% responsible.
Can I interrupt for just a second?
Oh God! If you're gonna just say it's from the devil, like we've heard that over the.
No, is that because your husband doesn't want to do anything associated with Satan?
No, he loves cats. Actually, he loves cats more than dogs. He wanted one animal per bedroom, and we still live in a 1-bedroom apartment. But I fell in love with this cat, and so he agreed. It was my Christmas present, but I had to do everything for it, so I pay for it. So he pays rent, but I send him some money, like for the cat and for my parking spot and stuff like that. So it all evens out. I like just having my own security and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do we want to get controversial and go back to the last name thing?
Oh, we can, because
I love hearing Wold's talk on this.
Let's talk about the last name.
Okay. Right. So, first I have to talk about when I was student teaching and I was engaged, and the kids were like, "Oh, what's your name gonna be?" And my name at the time was Gregory, and I said, "Oh, I'm gonna be Wold," and they all went, "Oh," and I was like, And so I really love that at Eastlake. I feel like I came in, I'm like, I'm Wold. And the kids were like, awesome. Here's 1,004 nicknames. We can come up with your name, which is always fun. I love it. But I made the deal with my husband back when we weren't even engaged. I was just thinking about it. I said, you know what? I'm not big on Wold. I love it now. But at the time I was like, I don't know. And I was kind of like, what if we changed it? What if we made like Gold? And he's like, no, that's stupid. I was like, okay, I'll take your name. But if we have kids, I have full reign on kids' names. And he took it immediately.
Foolish.
Interesting.
So I get full reign. And it's actually been really, I mean, I think women already should get full reign, seeing as they are making the child. And the man has given like one part of the ingredient. But that's how science works.
Not sure that's accurate.
It is. I am a teacher. but like so that way, if when we have kids, I can name it whatever I want. And when he annoys me, I tell him that the middle name is going to be Alex Sucks. So that'll be really fun. And I can do that.
Venezuela, Alex Sucks, Wold.
I love it. It's beautiful.
And a crap bag. I like it. All right. Haskin, your thoughts. You changed your last name. Go ahead.
I did change my last name. It wasn't that big of a change, like Nelson to Haskin. It's same syllables, same kind of ending. Kevin and I mean, we dated 8 years before we got married, so I had a long time to grow accustomed to the name, and I liked it. I don't know. There wasn't really much of an issue with that. I didn't feel as strongly of like him taking my name or us doing a combo name or me not taking it. I do miss my nickname, Coach Nelly, because now when people call me Nelly in class, they're like, what does that mean? Is that your name? And I'm like, no.
Is that why you stopped coaching for our viewers?
Oh, no. National boards is why I stopped coaching. And we don't need to get into that because they don't know the struggles that we've been through with that. But
let's not. Yeah. So
yeah, I didn't have a preference one way or the other. I was fine with it.
It is a weird thing, though. It's such a, I think it goes back to like property rights, if I'm not mistaken, and
it does
inheritance. Yeah. But yeah, so when Miss Menenberg took my name, it took about 6 months or so, like to.
It's a rough pill to swallow. So
it is.
Well, also you went from isn't that about property? So when she became my property, like that was not a good
I got
segue.
that goat in the dowry and everything else. No, so tell me. I want to hear your driver's license story because you had to get a new driver's license, obviously, when you changed your name. Mrs. Menenberg and she'll attest to this. Literally spent as much time getting ready for her driver's license photo that she did getting for our wedding day, like as far as makeup and hair. Can we speak to that for a moment, if you will?
Well, I did that too. I
look at all the time.
Okay, but I spent a lot of time on mine too. But it was the summer and I had to wait there for so long. And so my picture, my hair is disgusting. I don't know what happened. I just look like I've been through the ringer. All my pictures, my passport photo is worse. And so I told Alex, like, if I ever go missing, please do not use my passport or my driver's license photos because no one's going to want to find me. Like, it's just bad. I look so upset.
Yeah, my driver's license, it was actually one of the last things I got. I got my social security card first, my new passport first, and then my driver's license. And so at that point, I didn't even care. I just went in there and I just took my picture. I hate it. My passport photo is way worse because I tried to smile and then they said no teeth. And so I looked terrified. It's scary. But yeah, I mean, it's a photo you literally have to look at every single time you get carded at the store, every single time you take out your license to prove your identity for anything. So you do want
humbling.
So like twice a year.
Well, now in the day and age we're living in.
Come on, people. I mean, I know I'm way older than both of you, but like,
yes,
I get carded all the time. I think the only time I didn't get carded was like right after my 21st birthday, and I was going to the movie theater where you could have alcohol, and I go in and I'm all like my license in my hand, all right, and they didn't ask to see it, and I was like, I could have been doing this.
I guess I just don't get carded. Maybe that it's a sexist world we live in after all. I don't know. It's not fair.
It's
Never.
not. I get carded all the time. All the time.
It's
but you don't look as young as we do.
That's offensive.
It's also accurate. You got facial hair all over. It's
and you have those pimples up there. You know.
The gray hair.
You do have
the cane in the corner, like.
Here we go.
I love having Emma as a guest because I knew this would happen. I was like,
lunch every day. We have one roast to get it all out.
Yeah, what else? Bring it on, people. Let's stick with the relationship roles. What about for our younger viewers? Do they have any of these things going on that we are talking about, or is this just
they don't have spouses, so.
No, but even just roles in relationships. I think that a lot of what we've been talking about is household chores and mundane day-to-day adult things that you don't want to do. So if you do get married, you get to halvesy on those and it's kind of nice. But also they still live with their parents. So their parents do these things, For them, I mean, I can't really even say anything right now because I am living with my parents at the time of quarantine before we go back up to Seattle. So, but it's different. I don't know. I think for them, it's more of like they just get to focus on, whose idea it is to go out on date night or who's going to pay for things on date night. That is something we should talk about.
Let's go. I like that.
Wold, if you're just dating someone, you're not married, who pays for dinner? Who pays for, coffee or frozen yogurt if people still do that?
So dated. Well, okay, so with my own experience, Alex paid for a lot of stuff. I just didn't have any money growing up. I didn't have a job. Like, I had a single parent. Like, I didn't have spending money. Like, I would, if people were like, oh, let's go out, I'd be like, okay. Like, I'd literally sit there and be like, oh, I can't get anything. It was awful. So dating him was kind of nice because he just paid for everything. And then when we got older, then now that we're older, it was sometimes it's like whose idea it was. Like, if I really want poke and he's like, oh, okay, like, I'll pay for poke. If I had a really good day, I'll be like, oh, let's go out, I'll treat you. But maybe like if I had a bad day and Alex wants to cheer me up, oh, let's go get pizza, you know, he'll get it for me. So I don't know. I guess it would depend on, I think, like, now it's like, who's got the money? If maybe one person has an allowance and the other person doesn't, buy it for him. I don't know. And I think it's also the idea, if you are someone who is never going to plunk down money for a date, maybe then you need to suggest dates like, let's go for a walk in the park, and not like, let's go to the movies or something like that. I don't know if kids do that anymore either. I mean, today they can't do that. But
well, so let me get this straight. So you're saying that if the person who is doing the asking out for whatever the activity is, they sort of have responsibility for paying. Is that?
Yeah, if it's your idea to go do something, okay. Like, maybe if you get asked, be like, oh, maybe I should get like my half of it. But usually I think if it's your idea, you want to go do this thing and you're asking someone to go do it with you, maybe be willing to pay for them to do it.
I think I agree. My counterpoint, though, is going back to the mundane married relationship, if you will. I don't know if either of you do this, but Mrs. Menenberg on occasion will ask, do you want any ice cream or something like that? Do you want ice cream? Whatever the thing is. And what she's really asking is, can you get it for me? Right? So in that sense, like, she's suggesting it, but I'm paying for it, if you will, by going upstairs and getting it. Do we pull that stunt? Do either of you pull that? I say something
more like, you look like I need some ice cream. Like, nice. That's my go-to line at night.
Grammar, I like it.
I think I'm pretty direct when it comes to what I want, and actually Kevin, my husband right now, has instilled that in me, especially like sharing dishes at restaurants. Like, I for so long wanted to me get a plate, him get a plate, we'll just kind of share, and he never wanted to share. So now I get exactly what I want, and sometimes he'll go, do you want to try some of mine? I'm like, no, I didn't order that for a reason. And he gets really mad because mine looks better. So
we compete against food too, like who had the better dinner. Like, it's stupid.
I did.
You never do. So
as far as paying for stuff goes, I think I'm like a little bit of combination. Like, traditional is in like first date, I would want the other person to pay. Like, I'd want to get taken care of on the first date. But then after that, I think you can go split down the middle, or you could pick one up, they could pick one up, then you split down the middle sometimes, or most of the time even. That's kind of my take on it. I don't know, though.
I think the honesty thing that you talked about is a good idea, though. Like, being clear with what you want. Yeah. Tell Mrs. Menenberg to ask for her ice cream.
Well, no, I'll tell a quick pre-Mrs. Menenberg dating story, too. I remember I was dating a girl. It's surprising, I know, that anybody would...
I love when you talk about the dating other girls story.
Yeah.
Because we know they're not true.
It's all made up.
He's made it up right now as we were talking.
No, it's funny because I remember I dated a girl, and there was an implicit or unspoken expectation that I was going to be the one paying for everything. And I didn't have a job necessarily. So it was like annoying at some point where like there would be some passive moments where we'd be like in line at Chipotle or something. And I would just be like, oh, you go ahead. I'm not ready to order yet. And I'd just look up at the menu like long enough.
She probably waited at the front and said, oh no, he's gonna get both of ours.
Yeah, he'll get it. That you made it easy on her. Like, oh, he'll order after me and then he'll pay.
But I remember like the same idea, like that I lacked that assertiveness, and I think that's a huge thing for our younger viewers to develop, because if you have like something in your head that you're thinking and you're not gonna say it, it's only gonna fester and make it. We broke up. Long story short, that was the reason.
at line in Chipotle. I can't do this anymore.
I threw a burrito at her and it was over.
Oh my God.
No, I think you have a fair point though, and I think that spans beyond money. In relationships, like you have to tell the other person what you're feeling, otherwise it will boil up, and little things will start to set you off, like a towel on the floor or a sock not in the hamper, and is that a big deal? Absolutely not. But
Oh, I have
it
to talk about my
becomes that
crying
way.
story now. I told Haskin about this story. I was really I was sad last week, and it was a bunch of stuff, but I wasn't like fully thinking about, wasn't fully processing. So I was playing The Sims, which I haven't done in years, but I'm
Wold
like
has been playing a
regressing.
lot of video games, and
I am
Sounds like it.
I am
She's
escaping.
sitting in a gamer chair right now, I can tell.
No, but like it's literally just on weekends. Like my mother raised me well. Like I don't touch it during the week. It's like Friday happens. I'm like, yeah, I'll play a video game. And I realized what I was doing. I was like, oh my God. Like she instilled this behavior in me. But I was playing The Sims and my computer crashed and I lost some people. Like my Sims had children and I lost them. And I started crying. And Alex like, it's okay. I'm like, no, this is really stupid. I'm not really crying about the fake people. Here's what I'm really crying about. And that helped. So yes, communicating and figuring out feelings are annoying and they're all the time.
All the time.
And like people say that, like I say that and people are like, good thing you're the drama teacher. I'm like, I know, I just wanted to control the feelings. So I picked a job where I can do that.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Best advice for our viewers in relationships or not in relationships, just about relationships. What is your best advice or best advice that you've ever received?
Break up.
You are actually the worst. No happiness for anyone.
Miss Haskin, last time on our show, I asked our viewers to buy me a mug that said the worst. I think that'd be a great mug for me. I want it.
No one is going to buy you these things. And if they
Challenge
do,
accepted.
I'm looking at you who's like Amazoning right now. Stop and think about what you're doing.
Okay, best advice, Wold, go. I got to think about this.
Oh God. I just all of a sudden lost all of my advice that I've ever gotten. Okay. Honestly, sometimes it is okay to go to bed angry because sometimes the reason you're angry is because you are very tired. So it's okay to put a fight on pause and go to sleep and then talk about it later. But I think communication, that is just the biggest thing. And making sure, like, if you're too angry to the point where you're just saying nasty things, again, take a break and maybe go eat a snack and then talk about it. Basically, you're an infant, and the reason you're upset is usually because you're tired or hungry, and you need to deal with that.
I like it. I like it. Aside from breaking up, I would also say that one thing, I think my dad told me this, is you want to be with somebody who, one, makes you feel good about yourself more often than not.
Yes.
Not like they're there to just, puff up your ego, but they make you genuinely feel better about yourself. And two, want somebody who empowers you, like gives you energy. And I think we've all been in relationships where that wasn't the case. And it's very apparent.
I don't know why I'm nodding my head. No, I have not.
She's
What about with your cat? You have a cat. I mean, that's kind of...
My cat does not drain my energy.
That's toxic. That's toxic in so many ways.
You're toxic. Haskin.
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me.
Yeah, I take it back.
I like both of those. And I think Menenberg, I'm actually going to agree with him for once. This is weird. But I think that this idea of, especially when you're just young and dating, like, be with someone who makes you feel good and wants you to be the best version of yourself. They don't want you to be a different version or someone they want you to be or look like or whatever. Like, be yourself and be with someone who appreciates that. And then I think farther down the road for, married life or when you're together long term, my husband always says this, is that you're a team and you help each other out. You want the same things, or if you want different things, you help each other achieve those. And communication is always key, but treating each other kindly, and when you're arguing, not suppressing those emotions to want to just say the most negative things, but say what you're actually feeling. I think that's the most important thing in a relationship.
I like that about the team because it's true. You're a team. And like, you are going to change and so are they, and accepting that if it's changed for the better, because sometimes it's not, and recognizing that.
Yeah, you need to change and grow together because you're always going to be evolving, you know.
Yeah, I actually have read a couple books on marriage, surprisingly, and some of them maintain that like there's that reframe where you say you're not the person that I married or fell in love with, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not.
I know.
It's
I
weird.
Wouldn't that be weird if you were
at 25?
You don't want any of that noise anymore, believe me.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good. I don't know if either of you have closing thoughts, but I want to hear like in the comment section if people want to say what role or responsibility they think should be the guy, should be the girl, or whatever. If they have strong opinions, I want to hear. And
or
story.
do you think Menenberg should be more of a feminist? You can comment that too. I think you wanted validation and you picked the wrong two people to give it to you, and now you're like, students.
I don't need validation. I don't need it. I have it all the time.
Okay.
This was awesome, you guys. I would be a guest anytime. Pick a topic. I'm there.
This wasn't as controversial as I was hoping, to be sure, Miss Haskin. But maybe next time we'll get we'll needle Kate a little bit more, and hopefully she'll
I didn't like the topic when you were like, "What about relationship roles?" And I'm like, "What does that mean?" And you wouldn't really tell me, and it was kind of annoying. And by kind of annoying, I mean extremely annoying. And so I just was like, well, all right, we'll go and maybe we'll scream at Menenberg, and that will feel really good. Or maybe we'll go and we'll talk about stuff. And I feel like it's one of those philosophical videos, and not the one where I'm ranting
in the comments, the students write what they would want us to talk about.
Ooh.
Please, yes.
And we will fight over them. I might become an official anchor of the morning roast, and that would just be amazing.
I am a fan of that because, as you know, Haskin is my. Oh, look what I have! I will show on my desk. So I got our
marriage photo
and our senior picture.
We've been together a long time.
It's so special. I'm getting emotional right now.
Only because you don't have a photo with me. We'll have to we should do a morning roast photo though next year. Let's do that maybe.
Can we do one where we're back to back like this?
Yes, and we'll have a coffee cup. So you gotta.
I think that'd be great.
You gotta think of your coffee cup.
All right, ladies. As always, it's a pleasure. Hope you all have a wonderful afternoon. And for our audience, we'll see you next week when we talk about cereal.
We gotta maybe or a topic they come up with
come up with.
Yeah, because we have a guest star in mind. So clink mug.
Bye guys.
Yeah.
Clink.
Clink. Bye.
All right.